Everybody. We're going to get the meeting started here. Thank you for being here. A lot of good information tonight to share with you. I'm going to handle some housekeeping up front. My name is Evan Westfall. I'm the Director of Community Engagement. Thanks for being here again. This meeting will last about an hour. We'll do the presentation and then questions and answers. We'll hold all the questions till the end of the presentation because we're probably going to answer your question through the course of the presentation. When it does come to the question and answer time, we're going to ask everybody to come over to this side and line up for questions. We need everybody on the microphone so that all the folks joining at home on Zoom can hear your question and learn from the answer as well. If you're joining us on Zoom online, you'll see the Q&A box on your screen. You'll want to use that. Just type in any questions you have. Melody, our one of the smartest people I know, will help answer those questions. Also want to ask, are there any media elected officials here in the room with us or on Zoom? Just want to make sure we get all the questions answered for you. All right. With that, I will turn it over to our PVA, Colleen Younger.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to come here. I know everyone's busy, and I really appreciate the fact that you're interested in learning about how we get your assessment and what you can do about it if you don't agree with it. So let's get started. This is why we're here today. We're here to sort of demystify the PVA. What the PVA does is provide fair and equitable property assessments throughout Jefferson County. And we're here to help the public, that's you, and the property owners better navigate the impacts of changing property values, because we all know an increase in property value is going to convert to an increase in your tax bill in the fall. So we are here to inform you about the appeal process and your right as a property owner to appeal. So the basic role of the PVA is to assess property, and this is straight out of the state of Kentucky Constitution, to assess property at 100% fair market value. And we do that through looking at having a detailed review of properties for revaluation in a rolling 4-year cycle. So this is your all's fourth year. This is your year to be reassessed. All areas are reviewed annually for any substantial changes in the market. Assessments form a basis for the taxes levied by state, city, and other taxing authorities, such as public schools, fire departments, and other essential community services. So why we are doing this You Have a Right to Appeal outreach program? Here's why: because I think it's the right thing to do. And we started this in 2018 when I was first elected to the PVA office, and we've been doing it ever since. This has become a very popular program and a national model, and it's been nationally recognized through the National Association of Counties. So it's a program that we're very proud of, that we're very serious about, and we want you to know we're here for you. Rising assessments often mean a community is improving and that your owner equities are increasing, but those increases can create challenges in November when you get your property tax bill. The real estate market has changed rapidly in several years, and you've heard about that, you know, houses are selling for way above what they were before. There are multiple bids on properties that are being sold. We're still in bidding wars, and there's a lot more buyers in the market than there are sellers in the market. And so that's what creates that. We do our best to get the assessed values correct, but we don't know every detail about your property. We don't go inside your property, nor do we want to. So we rely on you to help us. So we're hoping that you will, if you choose to appeal, give us your accurate property condition and characteristics. On April the 25th this month, your assessment postcard will be mailed. That's your reassessment notice. It's on a big 4-color 5x8 postcard. Don't throw it away. It has very important information on it. We'll at noon, we will have all of the values posted on our website, and our appeal tool online on our website at Jeffersonpva.ky.gov will open on April 25th at noon. Property owners, if you believe, this is really important, if you believe your assessment doesn't accurately reflect 100% fair market value. In other words, ask yourself this question. If I were going to sell this property, would I sell it for more than the value or less than the value? And that will answer your question really on whether you need to appeal. But you might have some certain circumstances or conditions about your home that we're not aware of. And we want you to tell us about that. Because if in fact you've been flooded, you've been hit by wind, you have a property that is outdated, that, you haven't really done a lot. You've got a lot of what we call functional obsolescence going on. We want you to tell us if you got your original, kitchen cabinets, your bathroom hasn't been remodeled. We want to know that. You have a right to appeal, and it's an essential part for us to provide an accurate and fair and equitable assessment role. So how is my residential property assessed? This is how we derive the values of property in Jefferson County. So they are all based on recent arm's length transaction. So what that means is that we're comparing your property to like properties. So if you live in a ranch, we're comparing it to other ranches that have sold on the market, on an open market, with a willing buyer and a willing seller. We don't count foreclosures. We don't count short sales. It has to be what we consider to be an arm's length, fair arm's length transaction. So a fair comparison. Again, we only compare your home to a like home. So if you live in a 2-story, you're going to get compared to a 2-story. A ranch, same thing. You're going to get compared to a ranch. We do have a new way of comparing renovated homes to unrenovated homes, thanks to the brilliance of our research and valuation department at the PVA, Tommy Hart's crew. They came up with a way to separate the homes in the county that had been renovated and those that are not. So if there is a home 2 doors down from you on your street that sells for way above what your home sells for, but it's been totally renovated, has all the bells and whistles, and yours hasn't, we're not going to compare that to your property. Your property is going to be the unremodeled comparison to the remodeled comparison. So that should not affect your property value. It's not an exact science. What we do here is all done, by computer. It's mass appraisal. And so sometimes there are mistakes made. If we make a mistake, by all means, let us know so we can correct it. We also, a few years ago, went back to the original plats and neighborhoods so that makes it a more fair comparison. So in other words, if you live in Linview, anybody here live in Linview? There you go. You live in Linview, we're not going to be comparing you right up the road to North Audubon, because we know that's a totally different comparison. It's a totally different neighborhood. So we go back to the platted boundaries and make that comparison as fair as we can. Residential property 2025 reassessment. Approximately 72,000 residential parcels in areas 5 and 6. That is the east side of Fern Creek. Anybody here from the east side of Fern Creek? Okay. All the way over to, or is it the east side of Fern Creek? All the way over to the east side of Dixie. And this includes single family homes, duplexes, condos, and any undeveloped vacant land. So this includes areas in around these neighborhoods: Hazelwood, Iroquois Park, Auburndale, Fairdale, Cosmosdale, Jefferson Memorial Forest, Prairie Village, Holly Villa, and in this area, Linview, West Butyl, Waterston Park, Okolona, Hollow Creek, Highview, and Heritage Creek. And here's the map. It's quite a large segment or area, a quadrant of the county. Residential sales, single family homes from July 2023 to December 2024. Those are the sales that we are comparing your home against. In Area 5, which is the area over west of here, there were 1,366 sales. The low side was 20,000. The high side was 860,130, which gave us a median value of 215,000. In this area, which is Area 6, there were 2,194 sales. That's a very healthy sample to draw from. On the low side of 50,000, the high side was over a million, 1,040,000, and then it came up with a median of 260,000. Here is your reassessment card. This is that 4-color postcard that you're going to be getting. We're mailing them out on April the 25th. So on the front, it has a photograph of your property. Make sure that you have the correct photograph on the front of that card. It will tell you what the assessed value is, the parcel ID, which is a number that is unique to your property. And then it will tell you if you're getting a homestead exemption or not. So, and then that little QR code down there, you can put your phone photograph photo on that from your phone on that, and you can go in there and look at your characteristics. Is that right now? That's correct. Okay. Have to rely on them. They know more than me. And then on the back of the card is all the information about you have a right to appeal. And that's very important information because it's going to tell you exactly where we're going to be and when we're going to be there. Okay. Here's your detailed property card. So this is what your property card looks like in our computer system. So it would have all of these characteristics over here on the left with a photograph of your property. And then on the right, or down below, this is done this way, but it actually runs vertical. Down below it, you would see a map and previous assessment history and all that kind of stuff, a sketch of your property. Again, 2025 assessment values. We'll post on April 25th at noon on our website, Jeffersonpva.ky.gov. Write that down, Jeffersonpva.ky.gov. And then new this year, you will be prompted once you go to our website to create a free account on our website. And you'll have to set up your username and a password. It's very simple. Don't be intimidated by it. It's very, very simple. Okay, let's go. There we go. This is a continuation of your property card. If you look under the photograph, you'll see down here where it says view neighborhood sales list. Those are the actual sales that we used in the formula for deriving your property value. So you click on that view neighborhood sales list and it'll bring up a list like this, and it'll be all the sales in and around you in your little microcosm of a neighborhood. You'll be able to see what's sold and how much it's sold for. Okay. Online conference tool is very simple and easy. We have almost perfected it. It will be available again April 25th at 12 p.m. and will be open for appeals April 25th at noon through to May the 19th at 4 p.m. And I'll just say this, that there's a state law that drives all this. Everything we do, these reassessments are required by law. They are, when I am reassessing you, I am following the state law. And so it tells us everything we have to do. In that state law, there is a 13-day window in which to appeal. Because I think it takes longer to serve a county the size of Jefferson County, we got special permission from the Department of Revenue to add 10 days. So Jefferson County appeals will be accepted for 23 days, from April the 25th at noon to May the 19th at 4 p.m. Don't wait until 3:59 on May the 19th to get on the computer, because you might get kicked out, and we don't want that. And they close that site down at 4 o'clock, just like that. So it's not forgiving. Okay. So appeal submissions must be completed during this time. We got that increased from 13 days to 23. We prefer that you do the online self-service, which is about 95% of the people who appeal use the online, again, at Jeffersonpva.ky.gov. That online appeal is open 24/7. You can, sit in your pajamas in your home office or your basement or your kitchen, wherever your computer is, and you can go online at 3 o'clock in the morning and file your appeal if you want to. It's easy to also utilize on any mobile phone or tablet, and it's very easy to upload photos. So you can, we love photos to document your values. So you can walk around your home with your iPhone or whatever phone, take pictures of all the things that you need to have fixed in your property, have them on your phone, do your appeal right on your phone, upload those photos right from your iPhone right into your appeal. It is really simple. And I promise you, it's very simple. The in-person assistance that we offer during the conferencing period is going to be opening at noon on Friday, April 25th. We'll be at the two libraries. It's the South Central Library out here by J Mall. And then it's the Southwest Regional Library over off of Dixie. We'll be at both of those libraries throughout the conferencing period. So I will be sending staffers out to those libraries. And when you come into the library, they will be on hand with you to walk you through that and help you get through that appeal. They'll be opening at noon at both locations, noon to 4 on the 25th. Then they'll be open weekdays, Monday through Friday, throughout that season, from April 28th to May 19th, from 9 to 4 p.m. We also have 2 new evening events. If you can't get to the libraries during the day, because most people work like we do, we are going to be available at Iroquois Library, which is over on Woodlawn, on Wednesday, May the 7th, from 5 to 7 p.m. And then we'll also be over at West Butyl City Hall, which is over on Old Shep and all the Shepherdsville Road, on May 14th from 5 to 7. And then we're always available Monday through Friday at the PVA office, our office, which is downtown at 815 West Market Street on the 4th floor of the Glassworks building. We'll have 2 Saturday events at our office, Saturday, May 10th and Saturday, May 17th from 9 to 1 p.m. And then if you don't have home technology, if you are a shut-in, or your neighbor's a shut-in, if you have some disabilities that would prevent you from being able to get through the online tool, we will offer a teleconference for you. And what you would do is call that number, 574-6224, and make an appointment. And our staffers will then call you back at the scheduled time and walk you through a teleconference while they help you appeal your property value. So let me just say this before we go any further. If you want to appeal, there's no reason to not appeal. There is nothing keeping you from it. We have made everything available to you, which we want to do. We have made every type of assistance possible available to you, which we want to do. So we just encourage you very strongly to be prepared to file your appeal if you choose to do that and you think we've gotten it wrong. Um, if you have an attorney or a real estate agent or an appraiser handle your appeal for you, then you will have, if it's someone that is receiving compensation, if you're paying someone to file the appeal for you, which let me just say this, you don't have to. But if you do, if you choose to do that, we need a letter of authorization. So we'll have to have a letter signed by you that authorizes that individual to file the appeal on your behalf. And here's your documentation prep. So here's some tips and detailed info. The big red arrow there going up is where you're going to click when you get into our website. It says PVA Online Conference and Appeals. And then it tells you exactly what you're going to need up here in this handout. So here are the kinds of things that we're looking for. We want to help you. If you feel like we've gotten it wrong, we want to help you be successful in your appeal. So what you have to do is document what is wrong with your property. Now, let me just say this. Many people are extremely shy about doing that because you may have a code violation and you think that we're going to tell on you. We're not going to tell on you. We're not going to report that. All of your conference documents are confidential. They're not even subject to open records. We're not going to report that to anyone. If you have anything going on that, could be a code violation, it will help you lessen your value, but we're not going to report that to anyone else. Stays in our office. So there are some ways to document your property, the problems that you see with your property. Photos. We love photos. Tells the story of your home because, again, we have no idea what's going on inside. You can also get someone who is a professional, has to be a bona fide professional with a construction company or something like that, that would document everything in your home that needs to be repaired and write an estimate. So if you need new windows, you have a window contractor come and give an estimate for what it would cost to replace the windows in your home, a HVAC person, plumber, whatever it is, a carpenter, whatever you need, but it has to be documented and prepared by a bona fide contractor. And then you can submit that estimate as documentation. An insurance policy. Now, most insurance policies only cover the home and the improvements on the property. It doesn't cover the vacant land. So your lot is worth something, but that's not covered in your insurance. So keep that in mind. You can submit an appraisal, which costs money, which we don't encourage you to spend money because you can be successful without spending the money to hire an appraiser. So the appraisal can't be more than 2 years old. And then you can use the sales comparison worksheet, which I always say is my least favorite thing for you to use, only because we already know all the sales. We've used all the sales. And so I think it diminishes your chances if you use the sales comparison worksheet. I would use one of the other options. Okay, updated, easy to use online conference portal. So that big orange button right there where the arrow's going to, that's what you're going to click when you go on our website. It says start the online conference. And that's going to take you in to this screen, which says enter your address. And you're going to put your address in. Okay, next slide. And once you put your address in, again, that's going to bring your property up. Make sure that when you sit down to do the appeal, that you have all your documentation ready so that you're prepared and you can just kind of sail through it. And if you choose to go to the library, make sure that you take all of that appropriate documentation with you, so that you don't have to make 2 trips. Because if you go to the library and you don't have your documentation, the people at the library are going to say, if you don't provide the documentation, they're just going to sustain it and you're not going to be successful. So you have a choice. You want to go ahead and go through with it today, or you want to go back home and fill out or get your documentation and come back. So avoid an extra trip and bring all of your information the first time. The homestead exemption. How many homesteaders do we have in here? Oh, great. Okay. How many people in here are at least 65 and do not have the homestead exemption? Okay. Well, we're gonna take care of you all. We're gonna get you all up here after we go through the meeting, and we're gonna get you signed up for the homestead, because the homestead is available to homeowners once you turn 65 years of age, or if you're 100% disabled. And the actual amount this year is $49,100. So I'll just give you an easy mathematical reference here. So if you have a home that is worth $149,100, they're going to take that 49.1 off of that total value, and then you're going to only pay taxes on what's left. And it adds up to somewhere between a $500 and $600 savings on your tax bill. So if you're 65, anytime this year, you're eligible for the homestead now. Let's get you signed up. If you are 66 and you didn't sign up last year, sign up to this year and we'll give you a refund from last year. So please, by all means, get signed up. It's very important. It's worth it. It's worth it. And let's see, there's only one exemption per household. You must have lived in and occupied the household as a primary residence as of January 1. And then new, we have on our website, Jeffersonpva.ky.gov, we have an online portals tab. It's very easy, again, on mobile devices and tablets. You can go right into that portal and file for that exemption, upload a photograph of your driver's license, and boom, you're done. And that's going to be effective right away. Okay, here we are. We're at questions. So if you're interested in asking a question, go over here where Evan is and line up over here, and we'll take your questions one at a time.
Yeah,
unless you're disabled and you stay where you are, and Evan will come to you.
Yeah, well, I'll ask you in a few minutes to raise your hand if you would have trouble standing up. Another thing, we will be hanging out after we close the mics down. If you don't want to ask a question in front of the whole group, we can answer that one-on-one for you. So we'll do our best to answer absolutely everything for you. So, all right, first question.
Is there a limit to how far back you go in making the assessments and making in comps? How far back do you go in sales?
We go back about 18 months. But the assessment date in Kentucky is January 1 of every year. So whatever your property was, however it existed on January 1, we go back in arrears, and because that's how we have to do it. We measure it back about 18 months. We do the full year and about 6 months into 2023, which was a very fast market.
Yeah, that was what 2023 was, but that's a whole different market than last year.
Yeah. I mean, it was, but with that said, the median values are still increasing, even though sales are not as high as they were. Even though there was only 1,300 sales, 1,355 in Area 5 this year, that we looked at. The median value increased. So it's still increasing. Thank you for coming. It's going to say this. If you have a valid case, if your property is not worth what we have said it's worth, and you document it correctly, you will be successful. I want you to be successful. We want you to be successful, or we wouldn't be here, because this is not required. This public meeting here is not required. I want you all to know that. Our people come here and we put this on for you all to inform you, to encourage you, to assist you, and to make you aware that you have a right to appeal.
When do I hear if what's been approved? And
Yeah.
how do you come to that decision and whether or not to change it?
Well, the appeal, if you file an appeal the first day, your chances of getting a very quick response are very, very good. I would say 2 weeks is a reasonable expectation as we get further into the appeal window. So it's probably going to take about 2 weeks, unless you file it the first day and you're really on it. You know, you could be the first one to file an appeal. Who knows? And then how much we reduce or how much we deduct from your value is really contingent on your proof.
Question, can you give me a percentage of appeals that are approved?
Good question.
Yeah, I think it's about 60% that
Yeah.
are successful.
What kind of documentation do you need if you've got an old furnace or air conditioner?
I would take photographs.
Photographs of the furnace?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
I lived in the same place I've lived my whole life. I'm just up the street from my mom's old place. And they're doing two things. They're buying these houses that need fixing super cheap and then flipping them,
Right.
putting cheap stuff in them, and then making their buck.
Right.
What price do y'all use? The one they bought it at for 80,000 and sold it for 200? Does both of them reflect?
Well, a couple of things that, the one thing that we did to really try to equalize that was we developed that remodeled category in sales and the unremodeled category. So if it was sold as a flip, it's being based on the remodeled price.
And we know about that either from permits
Yeah.
or because we review the multiple listing service every time a house sells
Yeah.
to get those photos.
And
Yeah, I've been living in my house for 23 years. 2 years ago, I got hit with flood in the flood zone. I ain't nothing but 2 feet over the line. Is that going to decrease my property value or what?
We can certainly we actually offer somewhere between a 10 and 15% discount.
We do account for floodplain properties that are in the floodplain, and we do adjust for those. And a lot of times, like I said, if you're in a neighborhood that's within the floodplain, then a lot of those houses sell with that same issue. So we're comparing apples to apples. Whether it decreased your value, I don't know, because obviously if it was in the floodplain or wasn't in the floodplain 2 years ago, but the market's increased.
She got hit
offset-
with the floodplain when they updated that 100-year
Yeah,
floodplain.
and so it's kind of hard. The market may increase above, but you may not have got as much appreciation as everybody else did.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those
But you
things.
can still, you're in the floodplain, you're new in the floodplain, and you haven't been reassessed since you were in the floodplain. So you are really entitled to some relief for that. So file an appeal and let us know that you were put in the floodplain.
Okay, so just bring my paperwork from FEMA and my
Yes.
insurance. Does it
Yes.
matter what zone they give for the flood zone? You know what I'm saying? Like a AZX or whatever.
No, it won't. If you're in the
Mhm.
floodplain, whether you're in the 100-year
Yeah.
or 500-year,
Right.
we still will account
We'll
for
still
that.
account for it.
Okay.
Okay. Make sure you file an appeal. Okay.
And just a follow up on a couple points there. The essential thing is when you look at your assessment value, you're going to get on April 25th If you don't think you can sell it for that, we want to hear from you. And that can have a very big impact on your assessment and thus the tax bill you're going to get at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. So everything that you all submit to us as your, we call it, evidence or substantiating your opinion of value, every single thing you all give us is confidential. We don't share that with anyone. So, and I always say this because you might have a code violation, somebody might have a code violation on their home, or they've fallen into disrepair because they couldn't afford to fix something. We understand that. We're not going to call code enforcement up and say, hey, they over there at 112 Alger, they've got a code violation over there. It is actually protected information. It's confidential. It's not subject to open records. We keep it in our shop. So rest assured that whatever you submit to us is going to stay with us. It's kind of what happens at the PVA stays at the PVA.
The other thing is on the homestead exemption, is it an automatic notification when you turn 65, or you have to, like, I'm not 65 yet, but I will be before your next reassessment?
Are you 65 this year?
No,
Okay, well, you can't apply.
2028.
You have to be 65.
Right, but you're not going to reassess till 2029. So in 2028, do I need to?
In
your
2028, when you
office?
turn 65,
Yes,
you need to fill out a homestead exemption.
in 2028.
And as crazy as it seems, there is no role anywhere, no list that tells us everybody turning 65.
Right.
So, and
And
that's
we
on
do
me.
use the voter registration
Yeah.
roll.
Yep.
So anyone that is registered to vote, we do send you a postcard in the year that you turn 65 that says, happy birthday,
Okay.
you're turning 65.
Yeah.
Please apply for your homestead exemption.
if you're
So,
registered,
We
if
do
you're
do
registered to
that,
vote.
yeah. If you're
And
registered to
again,
vote.
it doesn't matter what month you turn 65. January 1 of 2028, fill out your homestead exemption.
And it's great savings.
Yeah,
Every
it is.
time we do
It
one of
is,
these
yeah.
meetings, we find people who have been missing out on that because they didn't know about it. So
Right.
if you're one of those people, let's get you signed up today and
Yeah.
also talk to your friends and neighbors who are of that age
Yep.
or and disabled status and make sure they know about it.
I would like to ask how many people in here know who your legislators are? Have you talked to them about your property values? But they control the law. They control the law, not me. I have to follow the law that they set. So they are the only people that have the power to change the law on property value. They are the only ones. And it will take a constitutional amendment. And several years ago, just because our office was very concerned about the very things you're talking about, you're preaching to the choir. I can't do anything about that. And we did a lot of research in our office and came up with a packet that we call the Circuit Breaker Solutions to an Erratic Market, because the real estate market was so fast, we couldn't keep up with it. And you all know that. And we sent it to the legislature, and we looked at what was going on around the country and what other cities were doing to combat fast markets and rising taxes and property values from property values. I sent it to them 3 years in a row. They haven't done anything with it yet. Call your I encourage everybody in here to make a call to your legislators and ask them, not Metro Council people, state representatives and state senators, and tell them you expect them to do something about it.
Is there a limit to how much the valuation can increase by in a given year?
There's no limit. It's really unfortunate.
There's no
It's
percentage,
awful.
no
It's
cap?
terrible.
There's not in Kentucky. And that's one of the things that we brought to the legislature, a suggestion that would be implemented.
The only thing that limits what your increase is what is going on in the market.
Okay.
But as you know, I mean, we've been in a fast market for a number of years. We've had record markets in recent years. We've had, when the mortgage rates were sub 3, I mean, we had it was insanity, bidding wars like crazy. And so there was no limit. So, there were huge hikes and upticks, and that's unfortunate. That is one of the things that motivated me and my team to do this circuit breaker packet for the legislature, hoping that they would listen and make some changes. But, in order to change the state of Kentucky Constitution, it requires a constitutional amendment. And we haven't gotten them to put that on the ballot yet, because I believe if it got to the ballot, people would vote for it. Who would vote for it here? I mean, I think everybody would vote for an amendment to change that 100% fair cash value law. I do.
Yeah.
So
Last question. My daughter missed her appeal date and was not able to appeal her assessment, which she felt like was really not right. So how long does she have to wait?
you can appeal every year, whether you are under reassessment or not.
Is it the same period?
It's the same period every
Okay.
year because it's state law.
Okay, thank you.
Well, with that, we'll wrap it up. Our staff and Colleen will be around if you have questions you'd like answered one-on-one. We're happy to do that.
Thank you all for coming tonight. And please feel free to call our office with any questions. Go on our website. We have a chat line, and we'll be glad to try and help you however we can. Thanks for coming out.